Get ready to chill out for the coolest adventure to storm into the realm of Lorcana. Let's have flurries of fun in this new set as we look at the first batch of card and product reveals. Let's go. What's up, Illuminators? It's Charlie and Mateos back. It is reveal season now for Winterspell, so we're going to be using this video to look at everything that was covered in the special Lorecast today from Ravensburger. And Mateos is going to start by talking a little bit about the narrative.
So as we've learned, we can see that the vine that was shown in Hanwen's vision during Whispers in the Well is now taking over all of Lorcana, and is starting to drain its realm of the Flood Ink, which in one way or another causes an eternal winter of sorts. Elsa, concerned with the situation, tries to contain the vine by freezing it. But because of the power of the vine, Elsa can control it and everything starts to freeze, leading to the giant Winterspell that takes over the realm of Lorcana and freezes the Great Illuminary. Get your winter coats ready because Winterspell is coming out for pre-release on February 13, and you can also find the product everywhere else on February 20. When it comes to the new franchises or series getting introduced with this new set, we can see Lilo and Stitch the series, we can see the brand new Pocahontas, Darkwing Duck, Mickey's Christmas Carol, and we believe that there might be still more to come, so stay tuned.
So plenty to look forward to, and we're going to start off with looking at the product lineup for Winterspell. So Winterspell is going to see a new Illuminator's Trove, which we're very happy about. It's one of our favorite products, and we're also going to be getting booster packs. But notably absent from this is the single player deck, so there's no single player deck this time around.
Yes, it was a big surprise for everyone, but also as we cover different sets in the future, we already know that there are a new product trying to cover the gap.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk about this in this video, just check future videos. But pretty much as Charlie was saying, we don't have a first look of the inside of the Illuminator's Trove just yet. If this comes out by the moment this video comes out, we'll make sure to cover on Instagram, so go check it out. But pretty much, as you can see on screen, we have a booster box, as you would expect, and the Trove as part of the main product lineup. When it comes to the marketing characters for the booster box, you can see the introduction of a new Tinkerbell. You can see Angel joining from the Lilo Stitch series for the first time, and also Darkwing Duck, as we mentioned before. And then there's another classification of products that Ravensburger is trying to start detaching themselves from just looking at the products as just the set. Yeah. Mainly because it gives more flexibility for the release dates, and that is what we call the Evergreen Products, right?
And I think that's something we've been seeing for the previous sets. Like there'd be a gift set, but it wouldn't be aligned with the release of a set, and they're kind of making that distinction. This is the Winterspell product lineup, but then there's also these Evergreen products that are going to be releasing in between sets.
That's pretty much it. But I think what it pushes even further this time around, which surprised me, is the playmats, really, because even the playmats now, they are detaching from the family shot in a way, if that makes sense. But let's go through them quite quickly so you can prepare your wallets and try to get all those products. So starting with the collection starter set. So we have no other than Stitch himself, of course.
Another Stitch.
Another Stitch. Surprise, surprise. But this one I'm super excited about. Yeah. I mean, it's a Stitch after all. But pretty much, even though it comes with 4 booster packs from Winterspell, that is not a Winterspell product per se.
Yeah.
So what we get here is the brand new Stitch Carefree No Border, which is a card for Winterspell, but that is the promo card with the glimmer foil type of finish, as we've been seeing quite often now. It looks beautiful. 4 packs of Winterspell, as we said, but also this amazing binder of Stitch, Rockstar Stitch, right? Which really helps bringing the other play group of players, which are the collectors. So I think it's the right approach here.
Yeah.
Beautiful product even on its box. So I think it helps a lot.
And it's the set championship Rockstar Stitch.
Exactly.
Is the art on here, which is one of my favorite arts in the whole series. So it's really awesome to see that. And yeah, there are a lot of Stitch fans out there. Stitch definitely moves units, so I'm sure people.
So there
are
you go.
really
it makes sense. It comes out on March 13. Again, not the same release date as the other products for Winterspell. So stay tuned. Another product that also come out on March 13 is the gift box featuring Scrooge McDuck himself, right?
Shush Agent,
that's right. And I love that card. I've been talking about the gameplay effect of the card for so long. This card also comes on its own art variation. And as expected, this is another Glimmer foil card. emerald, you can see on the screen. Similarly to what we saw with Elsa 50 Spirit and Lilo as well. So it has a different art, it has this different effect, and it has a very beautiful box art as well for that.
And this is the emerald version, so it's kind of, it seems they're cycling through the different ink colors, so naturally emerald is the one that comes next. So this product also comes with 5 random booster packs.
Yes.
We don't know which booster packs are going to be included in that. We didn't even get confirmation if Winterspell packs are going to be part of that. So that's still to be determined. The as Matteo said, the actual storage box is super nice. It was gorgeous for Elsa and Lilo. The dividers, at least in the last 2 iterations, they were kind of like cardboard punch out dividers, which weren't the same good quality as the Trove. So that's kind of, I think that and the randomness of the packs is maybe the downside of a product like this. But I mean, for collectors, it's a great product to have. It's actually usually pretty good value for money.
But that's it. I think value for money again is one of those, right? If you don't care about which sets you're getting packs from, I think it's an amazing product. At the end of the day, we're going to be using the dividers from the Trove very likely because we love those dividers. The art is beautiful and we want all of them. We have so many just here on the shelf. So now going straight to the playmats. For the first time ever, they're releasing 4 playmats, but it's because it's a little bit unique, their approach, which I'm actually all for that as well, as long as I can get hand on that. So the first one is it's a special foil playmat. So far you'll be seeing foil playmats coming from tournaments that you have to win. This one you can purchase. However, those are only available at Disney locations. It will be on the Q1 2026, so we don't know exactly the date yet. Hopefully by the next Lorecast or this Lorecast, we got more dates. We'll share online.
If it's Q1, like you can assume probably before the end of March.
Yes. So hopefully alongside the other 2 products we just talked about, those Evergreen Products, right? But what is so special about this is they literally put together the art of Mickey Mouse, Brave Little Prince, and Minnie Mouse. Ooh, Princess.
Do not remember.
I don't remember her, but that's the one from the iconic card. You can see on screen. They're side by side in the same marketing art. This playmat is foil, and this playmat has red border. It so just looks insane. I think it's going to be one of those that if you find you should purchase. I would at least, because I think it's going to go very fast. And as said, this is going to be a Disney location. So we're talking about Disney parks, we believe. Maybe the Walt Disney main store.
Do we know if it's going to be on shopdisney.com?
I don't think this one is. Okay. I'm almost sure this one isn't. So again, check it out. We're going to be talking with our friends across the world to grab one for us because we're not next to the parks. But beautiful. That's one of my really go-to product for 2026. I really want that. Then talking about the second playmat that got revealed, that is Belle
Hidden Archer.
Another stunning art that we've been seeing since the Floodborn, right? This is also going to be released at Q1 2026. However, only available on Ravensburger online store. So again, look at the art on screen.
Which I think is a bit of a shame for us in Canada, because I believe they don't ship to Canada. Like if you're in in the United States and Europe, you should definitely be able to get your hands on this. We might have to order it to like a mailbox over the border or something, and
we're just
get
gonna
it that
travel
way.
there and get it, or someone is gonna get it for us and we'll pay you. Tell us if you can get for us, and we'll pay you. Then we have a third playmat. That one is the Maleficent. No, sorry, that is the Dragonfire. Again, as you can see on the screen, super pretty, coming out in Q1 2026. This one you can actually acquire on your shops.
At your local game
store. So it's going to be way easier
to
find. It's similar to the previous approach. The only difference is releasing in a different timeline.
Yeah, and I'm really happy to see this art getting featured because it really looked stunning on the card from the last set. And then the other playmat that will also be available at mass retail and your local game store is featuring Ariel Sonic Warrior, an art and a card that I know a lot of people are really fond of. So it's great to see that. And I think it's a very good choice to use like more princesses and iconic characters on the playmat, and then also you've got the villainous playmat with Dragonfire as well. So
I think it's fantastic, and again, as you can see, this is not based on the Sonic Warrior Enchanted. It's based on the super rare one.
Yes,
if I'm not mistaken.
Or
Charlie
rare,
have been using a lot.
Or
rare. She did get downgraded when Fable came out, right? Beautiful art, beautiful choice. I'm actually quite pleased with the choices this time around. I'm sorry. And then finally, one last disclaimer just before we get to the cards themselves. I just want to say that I'm always referring to our Instagram account. Go check our Instagram account. It's very important because we're very on top. That gives us the flexibility to post things straight away as they get announced versus video that takes more time. As we are putting this video together, we have different information. So we actually think that the Lorecast that you likely just watched, and if you didn't, go watch it, had more cards than the ones we are covering here. If that's the case, check again. Our Instagram is going to be there giving you all the information you need. And for the cards that are not part of this video, it's going to be included in our second part of our Winterspell review season. So we're starting this together. Let's do this and whoop, whoop, let's get started.
And first up with the card reveals, we're looking at one of two iconic cards this set, and that is the new Pocahontas Peacekeeper. We'll talk a little bit about effect, but first we have to talk about the art style. Absolutely incredible. They said this is a paper cut art style. This is a winter themed set. So they said it's kind of like those paper cut snowflakes that you make when you're at school. And you can really see that here in the art.
Yeah, it's insane. I'm not getting emotional. I just got out of breath, even though I could easily get emotional. You probably heard us saying we've been expecting Pocahontas to come to the game for so long.
Percy over our
first
shoulder.
the pug. We have another person just on the floor here, but he's hidden. Our own Dwight pug. This card is beautiful, as Charlie said. We got to see a first look of the two iconics. So when you put side by side, you see how special they are. I think they are such a good choice. A lot of people were expecting Stitch and Angel to be the iconics for the set, just because it's the marketing materials. It wasn't the case. And I couldn't be happier about it, honestly, because the choice was phenomenal. Right?
Yeah, it's great. Pocahontas, like a brand new franchise, getting really featured here with an iconic card, I think is incredible. I'm sure it's going to be really, really popular. I don't know about the playability necessarily of the card, which we can talk about a little bit now. So Pocahontas is a 5-cost inkable, 3/6 questing for 2. She's a Floodborn, can shift in at 3, and has the ability Calming Words. When you play this character, if you use shift to play her and none of your characters challenge this turn, characters can't challenge until the start of your next turn. So it's a bit of a mouthful, but basically she's there almost kind of like a Kida, Protector of Atlantis effect, to kind of keep your board protected from challenges. So I think in an aggro deck, like maybe in a dog style deck where you're building up a really big board, you could then slam Pocahontas down and then your opponent can't challenge your characters to remove them, at least until the turn after. So they have to use then their removal songs or something else. So I think it's interesting in that sense. I think actually, 3/6 for 2, 5 Floodborn is quite good. It's the same stats as like a Robin Hood. So even once she's on the board, she's then kind of like a decent quester for you. I think the thing is you probably don't want to play her on 3 most of the time. You want to probably build up a bigger board and then play her as kind of like a finisher. So we'll see. I do think it's an interesting.
It's the dependency, right? I think the problem is the dependency because, yes, you could play later, right? As you said, you play on 5, whatever, if you don't have the shift target, but the effect won't trigger. And I think that's the part that is really hard. We haven't seen, maybe we did. Charlie and I haven't seen other Pocahontas card yet to see the target for that, to see how relevant is that synergy as well. If that other card is as relevant as this one, I think there's a big space. It's a legendary, as you can see. So this first iconic we're revealing is based on the legendary version of Pocahontas. So super, super, super cool. Beautiful art.
The art is amazing. Yeah, the frame breaks with the leaves is just, it really feels like 3D and you get the sense of the depth.
And it's cool. Again, I'm getting more on the art as Charlie is the brains. I'm I think the emotional part of it.
I like the art too.
I know you do. I just have nothing, so I have to be the art guy here. So she's a Floodborn. It's interesting to see their Floodborn take for Pocahontas because there was so much. I think Pocahontas is such a risk franchise to touch, right? In general, for many reasons. And when you think about how can you represent the culture in a way and completely change the visual, I was so scared looking at this, like, what if she looks like something that she shouldn't be? And I think they nailed. I don't know much about the culture, of course. I can't lie about it. I don't know. But I love seeing the elements that they picked. I think it's very depictable of what.
Yeah, I think it's like her kind of like base look and then embellished and kind of added more detailing, making her look maybe more like a warrior.
I think so, yeah. It's because we did get to see some parts of her on the trove box, as you noticed, right? You look at the trove box, there are details. When the image was first there and we saw very small because it was hard to see, I almost thought that she looked like Russian just because of all the layers. But now that we're seeing full resolution and the proper review, it's like, no, it's not. Thanks. She is very respected,
The only thing she's Russian to do is peacekeep. So
there you go. Well, beautiful card. I do want to know your opinion, so please leave a comment down in the comment section. Like, do you like what you're seeing, especially for the iconic, right? Because that's my chase.
That's your chase.
Yeah. Well, that and the next one.
Yeah, because
the two iconics are my chase.
The next iconic. So I think everyone has been shocked by the lack of love that Moana has been getting in terms of enchanters. And that's because finally, after long last, she's getting an iconic card.
Iconic. And I need to correct you there. Actually, it's not just even enchanted. Moana, up to now, never had a card above rare. She never had a super rare card. Not only that, she's getting an iconic and she's getting a legendary. So this card you're seeing is actually a legendary card. But let's look at the iconic first. So again, it's stunning, right? Like we are huge fans of Moana. That's the combination. Pocahontas and Moana. Huge fans of Moana. Pua is just there, which
Yeah.
adds that little extra thing that makes everything for us. And obviously, still following the paper cut art style as expected. That's the art style for this new set of cards, right?
Yeah. And when we got the assets for this, they're actually in like incredibly high res, and if you zoom in, you can kind of see like the speckling on the paper, like the kind of the imperfection. So right now it may be, you know, what you're seeing on screen looks a little bit flat. I assure you, zoomed in, you can see like an incredible amount of detail.
It's insane.
Again, the depth just looks crazy. The kind of the frozen water swirling around her.
I'm really just curious about people's opinion about the art style. Again, we said that we are obsessed. I'm particularly obsessed just because I like when they really make very distinct the style between sets.
Yeah.
Because then you can pull it back in the future and you know, oh, this was that set, this was that set. And I think it's super, super cool. I like the flat element, even though there's so many layers to that. I mean, flat, and as in the sense of it looks like layer to layer attached in a flat space, right? But obviously there's a lot of layers for the foil element as well. But please, and I will say again, because I do like hearing about that, leave a comment. Let us know, like, are you as excited as we are and as impressed as we are that this is the art style they're going for Winterspell in particular? And also, of course, as always, if you do want a full breakdown, we're going to go through the technical side of that. Also some comments from the art direction once we put together the full video with the iconics and enchanted cards and even epics for Winterspell once everything gets revealed.
But yeah, we can talk a little bit about the card itself because it is a really interesting one. As Matteo said, this is going to be the legendary, or one of the two legendaries for Sapphire. So Moana, Curious Explorer, is a 5-cost inkable. She's a 4/4 questing for 2 and has the ability Ancestral Legacy. You can ink cards from your discard. So one of the things that they did find out, Dwight is playing behind us. I don't know if you could see him. No. Yeah, sorry. One of the things they said during the Lorecast is they're kind of improving how they use terms and things like that in descriptions of abilities and cards. So ink is new, so they're actually taking a cue from how the community talks about, you know, putting a card from your hand into your inkwell. It's inking. So now inking is becoming a verb, and then you can compare that from something like Bell, Strange but Special, where it's you can put a card from your hand face down into your inkwell. So it's really just simplifying the way that terminology works. We're going to see a card later on that has a slightly different terminology, and we'll explain why, but this is the case here. The other important thing to say is with Moana's ability, it's just giving you access to use your discarded cards as ink. They still have to be inkable, so it still has to follow the regular rules of inking, and you can still only do it once per turn. It's not giving you any extra ability to ink here.
I think really the best analogy is when long time ago when we saw Lilo Escape Artist for the first time, and it said you can play from your discard. There was a lot of conversation at that time. What does it mean you can play? Does it mean playing for free or not? And it goes back to the concept play at that point is a verb. Playing always means following all the rules of play, so paying a cost and so on. So it's kind of doing the same approach, but picking a word that is used so many times by the community and actually officializing as a verb. So that's super exciting. And I think it also means seeing more and more of that happening as the game evolves.
Yeah, they did, and
right?
They said even this set we're going to see more of this. You can ink cards using ink as a verb,
and it's simplifying, right? At the end of the day, if you can simplify the quantity of text in a card, it just helps bringing a different type of target audience that might feel too overwhelmed with information.
But yeah, in terms of the actual effect of the card, I do think this is quite an interesting one. We know how powerful any ability to ink in Sapphire is. This is essentially, it's not giving you more ink, but it is giving you more options to ink from. So it's almost like card advantage, because normally cards in your discard aren't representing anything you can use. But in this case, you don't need to ink a card from your hand, so you're not going down a card, but you are going up in ink, which is a really powerful thing. It works super, super well with Cinderella, a card that has been one of the most impactful, I would say, from the previous set, because you can play Cinderella on 4, you can play Moana on 5. Moana is a princess, so it'll trigger Cinderella's ability. And then the card you ink with Cinderella can then be a card from your discard. And then Cinderella will then allow you to draw a card. So there's definitely some really strong synergy there. Also really interesting interaction with something like Sylvie Azarici. I think one of, if not the most powerful card in Sapphire at the moment. It's in every Sapphire deck. Essentially, you can play Sylvie Azarici, and then you could even ink that as a card directly from your discard with Moana's ability. So
it's crazy.
Yeah.
And you're getting the effect of
exactly,
Sylvie Azarici as well, right? Yeah.
So yeah, lots to like about this one, and we'll see how it fits into those Sapphire decks.
And then finally, as we said, because it's based on the legendary card, we have a variation of the art. It's interesting to see the choice of sticking to just Pua and removing Hey from the picture, right? Again, it's okay. Hey has so many other cards, right? Across all the colors, really, right? So I think it's an okay choice if it came down to the quantity of information on screen.
It is.
I think that's what it is,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, I think so. But also, Hey is such like an iconic character, and they even said he's kind of like the mascot of Disney Lorcana. So it feels like a bit of a missed opportunity, unless it means he's going to get his own enchanted card.
Imagine. Can we get an enchanted Hey finally? Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But I think it was the space of the card, right? Because it's such a close shot when you look at the iconic. Maybe having Hey on her shoulder would just take so much more space. We don't know. I'm happy with the choice. We have the two versions, legendary and iconic.
And then we're going to look at some other interesting cards, which are the promo cards this set. And one of the very first things to say is the promo style has changed. So it's matching more the organized play board as we've seen at the DLCs.
Yes, that's right. You can see like following not only the color, as Charlie's saying, the color palette of that, but also literally the type of framing on the bottom. I think the first time we saw that was year 2 of Disney Lorcana Challenge, right? When they brought the information about Pegasus and all the other type of cards, right? So it's cool to have even more value. I do feel like when you look at this, as a collector myself, I feel more excited to go to organized plays, right? To the league.
Because it's very different, right?
Because it's very different. And I think in person, and they actually said in person, this looks even more stunning. It almost looks 3D in a way, right? So it's cool. We do see, at least on the art, on the digital asset, we don't know in person, but we see the field where the description or the effect is shown lost the differentiation between sets. So maybe that's also another clever approach in terms of development, right? Because it means they don't have to create a different art for every single set, because that's the case for the previous 4 sets or so. Now it's just a singular form, and it just sticks to that in the sense of each future sets, right? Which I think is super, super cool. On screen, you're seeing Simone Snowball Swiper. This is the pre-release card. So if you attend those pre-release events, in this case for Winterspell is on the 13th of February, if I'm not mistaken. And then you'll be able to get this card just by attending the event. Literally, they have to give you the shop, right? As long as they have the card available as part of the organized play kit, and they should. So super, super cool. Do you want to talk about the effect?
Yeah, we can. So Timon Snowball Swiper, as Matteo said, is a 3-cost uninkable 2/3 questing for 1 with the ability get rid of that. When you play this character, chosen opponent reveals their hand and discards a non-character card of your choice. I think actually really, really good effect. We've seen that effect on Bare Necessity, so this is actually an effect where you get to be the one to choose, so that can be really important. Yeah, Mowgli has just been a powerhouse card this set in pretty much any Amber deck, just almost an auto include just because of how useful that is, and being able to do Mowgli on 2 to get rid of one of the cards, and then potentially you can then follow up with Timon to get rid of another card that you know is going to be a problem for you, is going to be quite good. Stats are reasonable. He is uninkable, which is the only downside, but I do think you're going to be able to find spaces for him in your decks.
That's cool. Should we look at the next one?
We shall.
So the next card, Elisa Maza, she is actually from the weekly play. So again, participating on your free events, the store will have their own rules of how they distribute those. But by being there, you'll be able to get this. It doesn't have to be tied to the pre-release event, but you might still get in the pre-release event, which is super cool. Gameplay effect?
Yeah, so Elisa Maza transformed Gargoyle, 3-cost inkable, 4/4 questing for 1 with 2 abilities. The first one is Forever Strong. Your character's strength can't be reduced below their printed value. And Stun by Day, if you have 3 or more cards in your hand, this character can't ready. So really cool to see that we're getting more gargoyles this set. She has the gargoyle classification and detective classification. So we've seen in the past that often there'd be like a new classification introduced, or that would be the focus, and that would be one set and then it's done. But it's nice to see the continuation here for those people who wanted to build those decks but maybe didn't have all of the pieces. It's a little bit more support for that. One of the other things to call out with Elisa is the her first ability, Forever Strong. It actually is again another example of text being updated to make it clearer. So your character's strength can't be reduced below their printed value. So that's actually referencing the printed value that's on the card. Sometimes we've seen effects that don't care about printed value, like something where a character strength has been boosted effects don't care about that, but this one is saying it cares specifically about the printed value. So I do think that's going to help clarify some things. Some of the terminology can be a little bit nebulous, especially for newer players, but this one is very concrete. It's very hard and not really open for interpretation. And yeah, we'll have to see if strength reduction is a big issue in sets. We did see that in previous metagames before Fabled, where something like a Ruby Sapphire deck is always trying to reduce your
Ice Cube,
your strength with the ice block, with the Sapphire Coil. And a card like this would be a good tech card into a matchup like that. If we see those kind of Sapphire archetypes coming back, then maybe you'll run Elisa. Maybe you'll just run it because she has decent stats, honestly. But we'll have to see.
It is cool, the consistency to see Stun by Day still here, as you said. It's nice that they are sticking to their guns with the mechanic, which is such a clever mechanic. And of course, this could be a spoiler for you because we're seeing her as the transformed gargoyle. We haven't finished gargoyle. That's a horrible thing to say. I didn't know she turned into a gargoyle, so now we do. But I'm more excited to go back and return to that after that. Yes.
And then another weekly promo is Grandma Tala, Connected to Nature, a 12-cost uninkable 6/6 questing for 2 with the ability Ancestor's Gift. For each card in your inkwell, you pay 1 less to play this character. So one of the things they did confirm is that we saw a cycle of cost reduction cards. Was it in Shimmering Skies, I want to say? So cards, they would be cheaper based on a certain condition. This is the start of a new cycle of those, so we're going to be seeing at least one of these in each ink color. And this is Grandma Tala. So actually, at 12 costs an inkable, I believe is the most expensive card that's been created so far. But because she's going to be in Sapphire, you can easily be reducing her strength. And actually, each turn you're inking, you're reducing, her cost. Each turn you're inking, you're reducing her cost more and more. So I think you could get to a point in a game easily in Sapphire where you're dropping her for maybe 1 ink, maybe 2 ink, maybe even 3, which is quite cool. And then you have a 6/6 questing for 2. So yeah, we'll have to see.
If people do run this card, it's probably going to be a 1 or 2 off, right?
Probably, yeah. But it's interesting with a card like this, which has like such a high cost, because it also means she can sing those really good songs.
That is true. Because you can play her earlier, but it doesn't mean that her value is her ink cost is smaller, right? She can still sing for a lot. Yeah.
But I think our highest cost song is a 10, so maybe we'll get some 12 cost songs.
That's 10 is still great. She can sing the 10. She can sing for everyone. Her and the fishes as a sing together.
But it's really nice to see more Grandma Tala cards. And are we gonna finally get the Manta Grandma Tala this set? Where is she?
Yes.
So next up, we have another weekly play promo. This is White Rabbit late again, a 2-cost inkable 2/2 questing for 1 with the ability Underdog. If this is your first turn and you're not the first player, you pay 1 less to play this character, and he also has Evasive. So another thing that was confirmed is we're going to see a cycle of Underdog cards. So there's going to be a card, at least one card in each ink, with the Underdog ability, which basically gives you a slight advantage if you're going second, because in this case you get to play a 2/2 Evasive on turn 1, which is not bad. Currently in the game, we have Pegasus Gift for Hercules, who's a 1/1 Evasive that you can play on turn 1. I don't know if the White Rabbit is super powerful in the way that it's going to mitigate that going second disadvantage. The one we're going to see in Amber, I think, has a lot more upside than something like the White Rabbit. So we'll have to see. Maybe we're going to see more than just one Underdog per ink color, because it would be nice to kind of try and balance out that going second.
But I think that's it, right? It's not just a gimmick. It does fix. I think is a concern
it's
that we
trying
hear.
To fix.
It's trying to fix. And maybe it doesn't fix, but it is trying to go the right way. We hear that a lot especially from competitive players, right? How big of an advantage is starting, right? So they're trying to find the right solution. Obviously, I don't know how you can make this across the board, right? Because you can't just have every card is Underdog, right? It wouldn't make sense. But it's a tricky one. But it could get to a point, imagine if that gets very popular, it could get to a point that people are so educated with the terminology that it could literally just put a flag Underdog. And then they don't need to repeat. It just means 1 less, and then it's easier to accumulate that information on one card. But I do like the card. I'm so happy to see White Rabbit there as well, right?
It's awesome. And then next, another promo card. This is the Buyer Box promo, so not using the organized play border. This is the promo border, or the promo symbol with a regular border. This is Beast Snowfield Troublemaker, a 2-cost inkable 3/1 questing for 1. He has Rush, and has the ability Dynamic Maneuver. Whenever this character challenges, if he's at a location, he takes no damage from the challenge.
That is cool. So of course, he can rush through a location. That's a play you can do, right? You can play him, or you can play a location right after. By the end of the turn, you need to decide if you're gonna rush or not, right? And then you go through the location and do the hit. You take no damage. In terms of just quickly on the buy a box aspect of that, is because even though that is distributed with the organized play kit itself, is inside the organized play kit, it's not necessarily something you acquire via participating or playing, right? So that's maybe that's why the differentiation of the art visual. And actually, I think that will simplify as well, even from owner or local game store owner perspective, because we did go through processes where the owner will be like, I don't know which one is the buy a box, and we're like, no, let's help you here. So I think that's a very clear distinction.
And they've been trying to push that. When they introduced the organized play symbol around the time of the first DLCs, they slowly started to move anything that's kind of organized play, and the distinction being that it's things you have to they're acquired by playing events, versus promo cards which are given out more based on just attending, so it's not
or situations, right? Which is cool. And also, of course, it's cool to see Beast finally play on the snow, because we can see that reference from the cartoon. So it's really nice to see here.
Absolutely. And then the final promo card. So this is the seasonal promo card acquired by attending Ravensburger sponsored events. So things like a convention that have Ravensburger there, you might be able to pick up a card like this,
or even DLCs, right?
Yeah,
That's one of the type of cards you get is by attending DLCs and do the pre-checking.
And this is Stitch, high badness level, a 2-cost thinkable 3/2, questing for 1 with the ability amped up while you have a character named Lilo in play. This character gains Challenger +3. So I really like these kind of cards that rely on having another card in play to get their effect. I think it really fits with the kind of the narrative of Disney. It works really well with Lady in a Dog's deck, and we kind of get to see something similar here with Lilo and Stitch. We do have a Lilo in the metagame that does really well, which is Lilo Escape Artist, so potentially going to be the one you want to combine this Stitch with. And then we also have Lilo Best Explorer Ever, which might be another great one to pair with Stitch, because you can play him on 2 and then her on 3 to activate his ability. She'll also give additional challenges, so he'll become a Challenger 5. Yes. And then when she quests, and then you'll also be able to challenge ready characters. So I think there is potentially I almost feel like those cards were probably designed side by side in order to pair those up. And like I said, we're probably going to be seeing more Lilo cards this set, and hopefully more support for aliens, because I did try and make an alien deck. It was a lot of fun. So
I'm always for that. It's cool to start seeing the synergies.
And I did tell a lie. This is the final promo card, and this is actually the set championship card for this set, and it's Tinkerbell Snowflake Collector in the same paper cut style as the other iconic cards we've seen already.
So pretty much we've seen her as one of the marketing materials on the box. Of course, this is the variation for the set championship, so we haven't seen the base version yet. We don't know the rarity. Effect itself is super cool, but art, when we look at that, it feels like I'm a huge fan. That's what I'm trying to say. It feels like a fresh air going from the last sets, because I feel like it has been very I'm two-headed or two-minded of the choices for the last set championships, right, in general, right? So seeing this here, I feel like I want to play for this card. I actually would like to go there, and I can only imagine how the playmat will look like. We don't know yet, right?
Oh my goodness,
We can look side by side. We have just going back to what to expect, right? By attending the event, you're gonna get the full art,
non-foil
beautiful card, non-foil, as you can see on screen. And if you attend the event and do and finish the top 8, you get the foil version. So that's another approach that I found very nice from the last set. Meaning that, why can't people have the same full art? It's just so pretty, right? Just have one being foil and the other one not. So I'm a huge fan of that. I actually
prefer the non-foil versions if I'm going to play it in a deck. I've always found the non-foil promo cards from DLCs look so good, and it's great to see this here for the set champs.
So that's good. You're going to get one for sure, and then hopefully we're going to get a top 8. But I'm a huge fan of this art, and again for Connie, so good choice. Very, very excited.
I wonder. So let's talk about her effect, and then I'll give you my question. So Tinkerbell Snowflake Collector, 3-cost thinkable, 3/3 questing for 1, has 2 abilities. The first one is Flurry of Delight. While you have 4 or more cards in your hand, this character gains Evasive. And Spectacular Find. While you have 7 or more cards in your hand, this character gets +3 lore. So
not that hard.
Not that hard in Amethyst. So I think the ability is really interesting. It's not something we've seen before, which almost to me indicates she may be a legendary this set.
Oh, do you think?
Because
it's very complex, right? The effect.
The last promo card was a legendary, right, which was Daisy Duck, and the one before that was a legendary, which was Maleficent Dragon. Hero before that was a super rare, but I almost wonder if going forward they're gonna pick more the legendary
They
cards.
did say that they are trying to find more incentives to participate on these events, which makes sense, right? I thought it was more on the way they present things and the card effect. Because Daisy, to be fair, when Daisy was first announced, the paranormal investigator, I think, the last one, right, for the Set Champs for Whispers in the Well. I myself, I got excited with the effect. I actually thought, I don't think you did as much as me, but I thought it could have been meta. I was mistaken, at least so far, right? So maybe Ravensburg also thought will have a higher interest. So you might be on the what's the term?
On the money?
On the money here. And she might be the legendary.
Yeah.
Because have we seen any legendaries in
Amethyst?
Not yet.
Not officially.
Not officially. So she could be the second one. That's right.
Be. And yeah, as Matthias said, it's not really an effect that's too hard. I think the first part of the effect, having 4 cards in your hand with an Amethyst deck, I think you can probably, by the time you're playing Tinkerbell, you've got at least 4 cards in your hand. I'm expecting the Amethyst underdog to be like, if you play this character and you're going second, draw a card or something like that, which will give you even more cards.
Yes.
So I think the first part definitely achievable, and then even as like a late game thing, I think we have second star to the right in the meta game, maybe less so this set, but that's an easy way to gain 5 cards. So if you play that, then Tinkerbell could be an evasive questing for 4. I do think it means that if she does see a lot of play, there are going to be ways to counter her. Like if Amethyst decks are getting really greedy, then people will start running Beyond the Horizon or Bend to My Will, something like that. So there are ways to kind of get around it. But yeah, definitely an interesting one. We'll have to see what rarity she is. And with all of that, we can now finally move on to the actual other cards, the regular cards for this set. And we're starting off with a fan favorite, Ruben, Sandwich Expert, a 2-cost inkable, 1/3 questing for 1, with the ability Lunch Special, Exert, remove up to 2 damage from chosen character of yours. For each 1 damage removed this way, you pay 1 less for the next character you play this turn. So essentially, if you're able to remove 2 damage from a character using Ruben's ability, then you're able to reduce the cost of playing the next character by 2, which can be really cool. We do know in Amber that there are like abilities that are used to reduce the cost of things like the Lance and things like Louis, I think it is, all able to reduce the cost of characters. I think the downside really is they are quite consistent because you can always use it, versus Ruben, who you need to set up that damage, you need him to stick on the board, and then you need to remove that damage in order to trigger it. So maybe the lack of consistency with being able to do this ability might be the downside here, but one I'm curious about, at least, for sure.
Yeah, sorry, I'm floating around because I'm thinking, what is with aliens preparing food? I'm looking at this. Is it John Silver that has the card? Is it John Silver that he's cutting?
Well,
food?
he's the chef, right, on the ship.
Yeah, it's literally the same card, but it's the cute version of the other card. I love it. Love Ruben.
Yeah. And apparently this isn't a Reuben sandwich. I don't know what a Reuben sandwich is, but it just shows that he likes sandwiches in general.
Exactly.
He's a sandwich expert. So
I would love a sandwich right now.
Love to see Reuben here. Another character also from Lilo and Stitch, the series, is Angel, Siren Singer, 2-cost inkable, 2/2 questing for 1. She is Amber's underdog, or one of Amber's underdog this set. If this is your first turn and you're not the first player, you pay 1 less to play this character. And then she's a Singer 3.
Singer 3.
Yeah, so it's bringing back Cinderella Ballroom Sensation.
Better Cinderella.
Yeah, yes and no, right? I think the problem with Cinderella is if you were going first, it became such an oppressive card because it would basically, you'd set up your Cinderella on 1 and then it would lock your opponent out of the game because you would just remove everything they played and you would play more singers. Now Angel, she's good if you're going second. It's going to be potentially difficult for your opponent to remove her with their own character before she has a chance to sing.
That's true.
But going first, you don't get the advantage. So,
but that feels fairer.
No, absolutely. Right? Yeah. I've definitely not disagreed because I think we all got to a point where, like, I was a Steel Song player, but I think we could all agree Cinderella was a very unpleasant thing to play against. So something like Angel, I think, is a fairer way to do it, and I think especially compared to the White Rabbit, I feel like this is a lot more powerful and a lot more impactful of an ability to compared to his. Yeah, exactly.
As an underdog. Yeah.
So yeah, I do like this one. I mean, of course, if she becomes really popular, people will just start running Fire the Cannons or something to deal with her. But I do like this one quite a lot. Yeah. maybe I can play Steel Song again. And then next we have Stitch, Carefree Snowboarder. So we've seen the surfer.
Beautiful. I love this art.
Yeah, and actually the effect is similar to the surfer version. He's a 5-cost inkable for 5 questing for 2 with the ability bring your friends. Whenever this character quests, if you have 2 or more characters in play, you may draw a card. So we know that on-play abilities are generally better and more consistent in the game than effects that require you to quest. But it does mean your opponent would have to remove him. Otherwise, you're going to get the 2 cards to draw. So potentially taking or exhausting their removal options because they're having to deal with Stitch rather than potentially other characters on your board. So yeah, again, an interesting one. If maybe it's paired with something like Sapphire and you're getting to Stitch sooner, or maybe it's paired with something like Reuben and you're using that to reduce the cost of Stitch, then, you know, being able to get him into play sooner and then be able to trigger the ability is really good. And you can always play the characters after him and then quest in order to trigger it. So that's the difference between Carefree stuff where you needed to have the characters in play first. So.
But it's cool. I like how, again, it's a similar effect for another Carefree Stitch. And I just realized that his snowboard is also the Amber symbol. And it's so cool.
And it's the same as the surfboard, right?
Exactly. It's just so beautiful. I love this art.
I love this.
We're going to use this one for the thumbnail, by the way. I'm already telling you.
And I'm happy that this is the one that's a promo version.
Exactly. So remember in the beginning of this video, this is the card that comes in the promo foil glimmer. So go grab yours.
So that's all the cards we have right now for Amber. So we're going to drop those into the tracker for you now.
Yes. And just also, you'll notice that we're not putting the promos inside here because we don't know their rarity. Once we get that information, we'll update. But you can also check our Instagram account for our live track. I say live because I'm always updating. It's not really live, but go check it out.
It's about as live
as a human can do.
So up first, and actually the only card we have for Amethyst right now, it's the Frozen Vine Monstrous Plant. This is a location, 3 cost. It's got a move cost of 1, a willpower of 4, and generates 2 lore per turn, and has the ability Persistent Problem. When this location is banished, if there was an exerted character here, return this card from your discard to your hand. So it's kind of some of the effects we've seen in Amethyst where cards are basically coming back to your hand when they're banished. So it's the same kind of deal. But in this case, it's requiring a character to be at the location, exerted, and then if the location is banished, then you get it back. So interesting one because it is a 3 cost. It is generating 2 lore, but it is only 4 willpower. So yeah, we'll have to see because putting a character here doesn't really gain you anything other than protecting the location a little bit. It means if your opponent wants to deal with the location, they normally have to take the character out first, which makes it a little bit more difficult.
When I first saw the card, I still think it's a nice card. I just overlooked the willpower. I think that's it, right? Because if it was way bigger willpower, this card would be like a monster. I already think so. Because it's coming back, right? And then even if you don't use it, you can use it as an ink.
Yeah.
It's nice having an option to come back to your hand and make that choice again, right? Instead of going to your discard. So I do like it. I think it might still play.
We'll see.
If this set is focused on location, which is another information we heard. It's very heavily focused on location on Ruby Amethyst combinations.
Yeah.
So maybe there's something there we haven't seen yet.
I was going to say, we're going to see some support later in the video that will make this location a little bit better.
Yeah.
So yeah, we can drop that into the tracker now. Just 1 card. And then we're going to move on to Emerald. And over in Emerald, also we only have 1 card, and this is Freeze the Vine, a 4-cost inkable action. Banish all locations, draw 2 cards, then choose and discard a card. So if we're expecting a location-heavy meta, then this is going to be a great way to kind of deal with all of your opponent's locations. But a card like this really depends on whether locations are going to be prevalent or not. So it's nice that there's kind of the location hate there to deal with it. So decks can't be too greedy, but whether this card is playable.
Locations have to be a thing for 2 reasons. We've been seeing references to boosting locations, which means we will see locations that accept boost. We haven't seen yet, as of right now at least. And we also have seen loads of cards on Whispers in the I say loads, probably 5 or 6, that has a heavy reference on their gameplay effect for location, including Goldie O'Guild herself, right? Indeed. So I think this is coming, and Ravensburger herself said that a big focus will happen for locations, right, in this set. So it's super cool to see. And if you were watching the top of this video, right, this is part of the story of what happened for Winterspell. So that's a key moment of the sequence of events. So super, super cool. Beautiful.
And funny to see Elsa on an emerald card. She's generally,
It is.
we see a lot more of her in amethyst and ruby.
I think she's going to be across all colors just because of the set being Winterspell, I'm guessing.
She's kind of the main character.
Can we get an Elsa underdog? I wonder.
Let's see. So we'll drop that into the tracker now. There we go. Going from 0 cards to 1 card. And then we're going to go over to Ruby. And speaking of Elsa, we have another Elsa. This is the legendary, or one of the legendary cards for Ruby. This is Elsa Ice Artisan, a 6-cost inkable, 5/5 questing for 1. She's a Floodborn, can shift in at 4, and has 2 abilities. The first one, Endless Winter. When you play this character, and whenever you play a location, you may exert chosen character with 3 strength or less, and Distant Call. While this character is at a location, she gets +3 lore. So Endless Winter, that's like Montreal, where we get 6 months of winter. So very familiar. And yeah, this is just an example. And we're going to see some of these other Ruby cards that there is a big location theme this set. And they did say kind of, especially in Ruby, we're going to see locations and things like that for other colors, but other ink, but Ruby in particular, yeah.
It's super cool to see Elsa in Ruby, right? We had in the past, the snowboard Elsa, I don't know her name, right? But we're seeing more of that. I do have to say a huge congrats to Nicholas Cole, because this outfit is beyond. It's so beautiful. Like literally, it's so beautiful. It's nice seeing the Floodborn approach to things. And I think previous set, we had that full reel explaining the thought process of gargoyles. I believe this card had the reel as well. You probably watched already, going through the deep elements of how they develop this character, right? The character design. This is one of those examples that, honestly, I could go on and go on and go on and go on. It's just, you have to appreciate the process of things. And I think this really shows, and a great kudos, because that's beautiful. Yeah.
And in terms of the ability, I mean, it potentially quite interesting. Being able to exert characters with 3 strength or less is something Ruby usually wants to do, because it's a kind of an ink that's interested in challenging characters, which you need them to be exerted in most cases. So that is quite good. And the fact that it can trigger turn after turn after turn every time you play a location. And then the second ability, again, leaning into that location, you can play a location, move Elsa there, and then she's questing for 4. So I do think it's an interesting one. Again, we'll have to see how strong the locations are this set to see whether it's actually going to be something that's viable, but definitely a card that will get better over time. And I was actually thinking in Infinity, where you have access to things like one of my favorite cards, Jim Hawkins' Space Traveler, then you could really build like quite a big engine up with locations, and the same kind of with the Amber Ruby Sugar Rush Speedway decks. Like this is maybe another card that will fit into those. So.
How many location decks we played against Infinity, right? Which it will take you by surprise. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was Ruby Steel sort of deck profile, right? For locations. So again, there's so many locations you can get from the Pirates. The Pirates deck is in our Ruby Steel with loads of locations.
Oh, Amethyst Steel, but yeah.
So imagine putting her there as well. I think it's super, super cool.
She can fit into a few different inks. And then if you want to shift Elsa, we also have Elsa Concerned Sister, a 3-cost inkable 2/2 questing for 2 with Clear the Way. When you play this character, you may pay 2 less for the next location you play this turn.
There we go.
So, really good, actually. Like decent stats for her cost, and then being able to reduce the cost of the location you play. So you can play something like the Frozen Vine for 1 if you've played Elsa.
The next turn you're shifting on her. You're already making usage of the Frozen Vine. You're moving to the Frozen Vine, questing for 4.
Questing for 4, and then they have to banish Elsa to be able to get rid of to not bounce the location back to your hand. So definitely some fun synergy there, and Elsa in a more classic outfit in this one.
That's the proper Elsa. But I actually love the Floodborn Elsa now.
Me too. And then more Elsas. The Cold Never Bother Me Anyway. This is a 3-cost uninkable song. Look at the top 4 cards of your deck. You may reveal a location card and put it into your hand. Put the rest into your discard. You pay 3 less for the next location you play this turn. So basically, you can use this to look for a location in the top 4 cards. If you're able to find one, then you'll be able to then pay 3 less for it. As Matteo said, Ruby Amethyst could be a good color combination for this type of effect, and then you'll be able to play something like the library for free. And of course, you don't need to play the location you find. You could already have the library in your hand, sing The Cold Never Bother Me Anywhere, and then play a location. So in an ideal world, it's going to be +1 card advantage. It's going to be giving you a card into your hand and then reducing the cost of a location. So I do think there's definitely something interesting there as well.
But of course, all that has to be executed in the same turn, right?
Yes.
If you decide to play. Just important as a reminder. It is a risk as well as any, how do you call this type of mechanic?
It's scrying, I guess.
Yeah, like it's a risk. You could look at all 4 and have no locations, and all those cards are going to discard. But if you are playing the card, you likely have a deck that is location heavy.
Yeah, exactly. And I just saw the credits on the bottom here. It says Let It Go 2013, and I feel like I just turned to dust. That Frozen was 13 years ago.
Oh my god.
Wow, I feel so old. Next up, we have Willy the Giant, Ghost of Christmas Present, which was one of several cards revealed over the holiday season as a little treat for us from Mickey's Christmas Carol. He's a 4-cost inkable 7/7, questing for 2. He's a boost 3 and has the ability The Food of Generosity. This character can't quest or challenge unless you put a card under him. So huge stats for a 4-cost character. Inkable, so you're able to get rid of him if you're not able to set it up. But if you are able to boost him, then you have a huge body on the board that's going to be doing quite a lot for you. I think boost 3 is very expensive, which it makes sense because of the stats on this character. But there are ways to boost characters. We're going to see some ways to boost characters cheaply off of free. So I think if you're able to combine him with another boost effect that puts a card under him, and then kind of get away from that paying that 3, then he becomes really good. And you only really have to pay that once there's a card under him, then he can challenge and quest freely. So even if you do have to pay the tax, you're only paying it once. So yeah.
Okay, a couple of observations here. So a little bit of trivia. So we actually are seeing ghosts classification, right? And actually ghosts are what are bringing now the boost mechanic as well. So coming from the Whispers in the Well, boost was introduced as a mechanic. Those were specifically associated in the set to the Whisper cards. Whisper cards were the one that had a specific type of framing, right? Around like the Thor lore book art style, right, around the card. So people were questioning how come we're seeing boost without the framing. Is because that framing is associated to whispers and not to the boost mechanic itself. They have to detach. At the moment, at least for Winterspell, the cards that can introduce boosts are cards that are also ghosts.
So far that we've
seen, at the moment, so it could expand. It's just a little bit of trivia here and there. Of course, this is from Mickey's Carol, right? Christmas Carol, which is another series that got introduced Winterspell, and there's a bunch to look at through that. And I'm so excited.
And then the other thing to say is you also got the giant classification. Yes. So I think this might be one of the very few. I know we got Gustav the Giant. I don't know if he.
I don't think he was a giant though.
I know Tinkerbell Giant Fairy and Mickey Giant Mickey also aren't giants.
Yeah, I think he's the first. I think he's the first classification giant.
Maybe they're going to errata the other cards and add the giant classification. And if you are curious about boost and how boost works, we did just release a video quite recently about the boost mechanic in case you want to bone up in advance of this set with all these powerful new boost cards coming.
We're going to be linking just here, so go click it. We need more views in that video.
And then the final card we're looking at here for Ruby is a Graveyard of Christmas Future, Lonely Resting Place, isn't it? 4-cost inkable location, move cost of 1, willpower of 8, and it has 1 law per turn. And it has 2 abilities. The first one is New Arrival. When you move a character here, put the top card of your deck under this location face down. And another chance, at the start of your turn, you may put all cards from under this location into your hand. If you do, banish this location.
So New Arrival is whenever. So whenever you move a character here. Yeah.
So if you set this up and then move 3 characters there, you're going to put all 3 cards under this location. And then if it survives until the next turn, you can then banish it to draw those 3 cards. So it's quite an interesting spin on card draw for Ruby. So we've seen Ruby effects in the past that rely on banishing a character and then you draw cards because your character's been banished, which can be a bit of a tempo loss sometimes. But I think when it's attached to a location that's kind of ticking up lore for you as well, it feels a little bit less bad, especially if you're able to get this location out cheaper. Maybe with something like The Cold Never Bothered Me Anyway. Could be an interesting one, but I think in limited this has potential
because it has quite a lot of willpower, right? For a 4-cost as well. I think it's like a lot of people just panics when they see a location giving passive lore. It's already ticking on the background, and then having the second ability with another chance. I think it's super cool. Yeah.
So okay, we'll drop all of those into Ruby. So filling out Ruby, getting quite a lot just because of the locations and the Mickey's Christmas Carol. So
I don't want to jinx this, but I'm liking Ruby finally. It's been a few sets that I do not like Ruby.
It got a little bit of support and Whispers in the Well,
and then they forgot. Like, oh my god, what we're doing? We cannot give support to Ruby. But you know who we can give support to? Sapphire. So we see Moana, legendary, and then we have the second legendary. Yeah.
Which is Scrooge McDuck Reformed Ebenezer, a 6-cost inkable, a 4/6, questing for 2. Here's a Floodborn, he'll shift in at 2, and has the ability Spreading Joy. When you play this character, you may put a card from the top of your deck face down under each of your other characters. If you do, those characters gain ward until the start of your next turn. So essentially, if you've set up a quite nice big whiteboard, you can then throw gifts under each of those characters, boosting them up, and then they're also going to have ward until the start of your next turn. So
you get a boost, you get a boost, you get a boost.
So
it's like the machine.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because it is kind of a build around card. You know, sometimes build around legendaries are a little bit less successful, but I think people are going to break this. It just, to me, it feels like it has so much upside for what it is. Like, I feel like if you pair it maybe with Emerald, and you have like a lot of really aggressive questers in Emerald, so something like a Little John, you can play your Little John, quest with him, and then play Scrooge McDuck, ready him up again, quest with him again, give him the ward, and then he hopefully will stay around for another turn.
Flynn Rider.
With Flynn Rider, same with Megara. So I think there's a lot there. I don't know if the other ink colors necessarily have the same kind of support with boost. We're going to see more added this set. So I do like that. Also, we're saying that it does apply also to cards like Mickey Mouse Brave Little Prince, who care if they have a card under them, then he will give him ward and allow him to quest for more. And also something like Hero Hamada's ability, which is given to any Floodborn characters with cards under them. Doing this with Scrooge will then activate a hero's ability on all of those. So definitely some interesting combo pieces there. We'll be super curious to see what people do with this card because I do like it, but it's a card that, you know, fits into a very specific deck or a couple of very specific decks. You're not going to just put him in every Sapphire deck.
But I think that's also, as soon as a very specific deck wins every single tournament, everyone is going to play that specific deck. And then this card gets value, right?
Yeah.
But I know what I mean. Yeah.
And it is interesting from a design perspective because maybe the designers are kind of saying, you know, build around this, build something cool. So.
And it fits with the story, right? So we see this journey of Scrooge McDuck going from that very cranky old man all the way to the reformed Ebenezer, and he's giving gifts. He's boosting everyone with gifts, right? I want him to be my uncle.
And speaking of his transformation, the previous Scrooge McDuck was a hero, but this Scrooge McDuck, Miserly Ebenezer, is a 3-cost and inkable villain. He's a 3/2 questing for 1 with the ability Bar Humbug. During your turn, whenever a card is put into your inkwell, chosen character gets -1 strength this turn. So here's a shift target for your big Scrooge. And it's an okay ability. I think there are more efficient ways to reduce character strength. Something like the Sapphire Coil also requires you to ink a card in order to trigger it, but it's an item, so it generally has more staying power, and it also gives -2. So yeah, I don't know about Scrooge, but maybe if you need that shift target, then he could do that.
It's something building towards something else, but it is cool as well. The balancing wise, it does feel fairer that it is an inkable, because it removes a little bit what could potentially be the super OP power from the legendary, because you almost want the two pieces to work together. This, for me, out of the Christmas Carol cards revealed so far, I don't know if there will be more, it's my favorite art.
I love the aurora
lighting,
behind
right?
it.
It's insane, the lighting.
And you had some trivia about the hand, right? You knew who the hand was?
Oh my god, if I had,
Sorry,
I forgot.
I put you on the
I don't
spot.
remember.
Another really cool card from the Mickey's Christmas Carol is Pete, Ghost of Christmas Future, 5-cost inkable, a 5/5 questing for 1. He is a ghost who can be boosted for 1 and has Foreboding Glance. Whenever this character quests, look at the number of cards from the top of your deck equal to the number of cards under him. Put 1 into your hand and put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. So that is the one. The more you boost Pete, then the more you're going to be able to get use of his ability. Of course, you can only boost normally once per turn, so it could be a little bit slow. But if you're using things like Scrooge McDuck, if you're using even the Amber Scrooge McDuck, then you're able to boost him a lot more quickly, and then he's going to be able to quest and help you filter through your deck, which is very cool. Those effects are really powerful, we know, but it does rely on him sticking to the board. And it's also a card that doesn't really have a huge impact on play. So we'll have to see if Pete does much for Sapphire. I think Sapphire has probably more powerful things it wants to be doing. But certainly if you build around that Scrooge McDuck, I could see you including Pete in your deck because you're going to get the free card with him anywhere.
I just realized he's a rare as well. It's an interesting choice.
It's a rare ability, I would say. Like
the complexity of a rare, maybe. I just meant more Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's missing his iconic cigar. So that's like one of the things that I always remember from the cartoonist. Is like,
I thought you meant all the rare cards had a cigar.
No.
Where is his?
No, just beats. Also from the same movie, we have Jiminy Cricket, Ghost of Christmas Past, a 3-cost inkable, 3/4 questing for 1. Also a ghost, boosts for 2, and has look into your past. Whenever you put a card under this character, you may put a card from your discard into your inkwell, face down and exerted. And I said this was a kind of ability that seemed to almost differ from the way it was explained with Moana. I think the distinction here, and we'll have to wait for confirmation, is that Jiminy Cricket will allow you to put an uninkable card from your discard into your inkwell, because it follows the same terminology we've seen in things like the Fishbone Quill and Teepaw, and even Cinderella, which all allow you to do a card without the inkwell symbol on it. So I suspect that's kind of the advantage of Jiminy Cricket. And maybe going to be a way that Sapphire players use to accelerate their ink. But I don't know. I feel like, again, probably more efficient ways to do it, but we'll see. And Dwight is joining us. And one thing I want to say is we saw lots of the characters from Mickey's Christmas Carol. We didn't yet see Goofy as Jacob Marley. So
we didn't see Mickey Mouse.
We didn't see Bob Cratchit, Mickey.
We haven't seen Minnie Mouse. I forgot her name.
Yeah. Mrs. Cratchit.
Mrs. Cratchit. We haven't seen Tiny Rick.
Tiny
What's his name?
Tiny Tim.
Tiny Tim.
Matis, they didn't make you read A Christmas Carol at school in Brazil.
We actually haven't.
Oh, okay.
It's not. Well, maybe we did have, but maybe it's in a religious school. Do you think? Maybe it's more Catholic.
No, I didn't go to religious school.
I have never read that. I knew it, of course, but.
And then the final card we have in Sapphire is one that people have been waiting for so long. This is Darkwing Duck, Dashing Gadgeteer, 4-cost inkable, 3/5, questing for 1, with the ability Modern Marvel. Whenever this character quests, you may put an item card from your discard on the bottom of your deck. If you do, you may play an item with 5 cost or less from your discard for free. First things first, like, amazing that we're finally seeing Darkwing Duck.
He has to get enchanted, right?
I would hope so.
He has to.
And it's funny, when we worked in Disney Infinity, they would always run polls like, which character do you want to see in Disney Infinity? And Darkwing Duck always won.
So many votes.
Like, he's got such a huge cult following, so it's great to see him. And we're going to see some more characters from Darkwing Duck. In terms of the ability, I think we'll need a lot of item support to make this good. I checked when we were doing this video, and currently the only 5-cost item in the game at the moment is Merlin's carpet bag. So we need a lot more 5-cost items. Of course, you could play a 3 or a 4-cost item, but you want to be maximizing his ability to cheat out those high-cost items. So more items, more impactful items, then I think Darkwing could be quite a good one. I know a lot of people like item decks because,
and does the Merlin carpet bag have an effect that you think fits with anything in the current meta?
Well, it was getting played in some decks. I think it was in Amethyst Sapphire. I remember DKP was running this because it was a way to recycle your popsicles. So I guess it was before rotation. So maybe if there's like a good item you want to recycle, then but it kind of like you need a good item to make that good, and then you need a good So it's a lot. So I'm not so sure about Darkwing Duck.
It could be the item he has in his hand.
Very true.
That could be a 5-cost that will be revealed soon.
And he also has the classification Super, which is new, right? I don't think Super Goof certainly wasn't Super.
So
go on.
We'll have a video right after this one. We'll talk about that at the end. There's plenty of Super coming on that, because I paid attention to the classification. So he is introducing the Super, and then a set from now, plenty of Supers will come in. So stay tuned for the end of the video.
Spoilers. So let's drop Darkwing and those other cards into the tracker.
Look how much fur from Dwight.
Yeah, it's like a VFX right now, and then we're gonna move we're gonna move to Steel. The first card we have here in Steel is Winterspell. This is a 1-cost inkable action. Chosen location of yours can't be challenged until the start of your next turn. Draw a card. Really cool. So first things first, like a card named after the set. The Winterspell is what Elsa has cast and conjured. And the narrative is that she's frozen the Illuminary, and that's going to be the thing
that's our understanding. I think it's the power of her and the power of the vine. Obviously, she didn't intend to do that. She did that before on Frozen, right? So she should have learned her lesson. But it's a combination of everything as far as we understood. But it's a beautiful art as well. It's so cool to actually see the Great Luminary going through that. I feel like every set or every year, something happens with the Great Luminary, right? Sometimes it breaks, sometimes it floods in ink. Now we have this eternal winter.
Yeah.
So welcome to Montreal.
It looks amazing. Again, it comes down to how good locations are the set, but I do think steel is a good support color for locations because we've got things like John Silver. If you're able to set up like a big location, use this to protect it. Something like the library, right, that you want to stick on the board, and then you also get to draw a card. At the very least, you're always going to be paying one to draw a card, which is not the end of the world, right? Next up, we have Gantu, Hamsterveel's Accomplice, a 1-cost inkable 3/3, questing for 1 with the ability Easy Target. When you play this character, choose and discard a card. So you are sacrificing card advantage. You're putting a card into your inkwell, into your discard, sorry. But then you are establishing a 3/3 on turn 1, which is really, really good. Steel likes being able to get these high strength willpower characters out, and this is going to allow you to do it. You can use this on something like Lilo, Escape Artist, to put her in your discard to then play it from there later. Synergizes with any effect really that cares about your discard. So I do think potentially Gantu is going to be quite useful. But
it is important to say as well, because I think when we first saw, well, I did, not you, but I was like, oh, isn't this a better version of Mulan? But of course not. Mulan, you're also drawing the card, so that's the big differentiation here, of course.
Yeah, in this case, you're only discarding. But the good thing about Gantu's ability, and
who is his accomplice?
The clues in the name, we have Dr. Hamsterville, infamous scientist, an 8-cost inkable 5/5 questing for 2. He has 2 abilities. The first one is controlled variables. For each alien character card in your discard, you pay 1 less to play this character, which is the cost reduction cycle we talked about. And then Awestruck, when you play this character, chosen opposing character can't challenge during their next turn. So if on turn 1, Gantu has discarded one of your alien characters, then it's already reducing the cost of Dr. Hamsterville. So definitely some nice synergy there, and it's cool again to see these cards that play together, and hopefully we're going to see more things that will buff this guy up, because I do think it's a very interesting card design. There are a lot of 5/5 characters questing for 2, including something like Pluto Steel Champion is maybe going to be a better choice in most decks. But one of the good things about having an 8-cost character is if you're able to get him in, say, turn 4 or 5, then it unlocks your ability to sing some of the bigger songs in the game, like Circle of Life or Beyond the Horizon. So you could be discarding a bunch of cards from your hand and then refilling it with Beyond the Horizon. So I do think there's some interesting synergy there. I 100% am going to be building an alien deck, even if it's just for fun. And
you tried before, you can try again for sure. And he's an inventor, let's not forget as well, right? So there's its own synergies by being an inventor himself.
Exactly, yeah. So really cool one there, and hopefully we're going to see some more Dr. Hamsterville in the set. And then last but not least, we have Launchpad Trusty Sidekick, a 2-cost uninkable 2/3 questing for 1 with the ability, what did you need? Exert, draw a card, then choose and discard a card unless you have a character named Darkwing Duck in play. So again, more cards that care about other cards, and I think we will be seeing a few Darkwing Duck cards this set, so it could make Launchpad a really good draw engine in a deck that's kind of being built around a Darkwing Duck.
That is actually cool. Imagine just being able to be drawing your cards. Of course, it's quite easy to be removed from the board, but that's
But it could be cool if you like set up the 2 characters, your Launchpad, your Darkwing, and you exert him, and then there's an ability to ready him, and you can
that is true.
Trigger that ability a few times. So I like.
It's nice to see Launchpad here as well. Yeah.
And again, hopefully we're going to see more Launchpad coming in the future. So we'll drop all of the steel cards into the tracker there. And honestly, I'm super excited about this set. I cannot wait.
Me too. I was very excited already with Whispers in the Well. I think it was really what we needed to make everything feel fresh again after rotation, right? Yeah. So that's cool. But this one, I love winter. And I felt like visually you feel very repetitive, the whiteness of the cards, but the way that the team have managed to actually tell a story so far, it's super cool. So super excited.
Yeah. And of course, there has been a load of other news today. So if you're curious to find out about that, we do have a separate video which is talking about what's coming up in the next year of Lorcana. So check that out now.
So pretty much, if you watch the Lorecast, we're talking about Mr. Incredible or The Incredibles. We're talking about Coco. We're talking about Monsters Inc. We're talking about Attack of the Vine. We're talking about Up. So all that you've probably seen today, Tuesday. is being covered in a dedicated video. We just want to make a clear separation between Winterspell and the future. So go check it out as well.
If you enjoyed this video, do be sure to give us a like as it helps us out on the channel, and subscribe for future content. With reveal season starting, it's always our busiest time. So we'll be releasing loads of videos covering all of the details of this set that's coming up. And we're also going to be opening all of the products when we can get our hands on them.
Hopefully soon. Hopefully soon.
So go and check the other video out. Find out all about the upcoming year of Lorcana. And until next time,
happy questing.
Happy questing.